Alrighty, here we go. Why is this so big? Why are you doing that already? My camera has been rather annoying recently, and it's just having a mind of its own. So I might have to keep changing it as we go on. But here we go. Welcome to another pre-match stream. As usual, we're about 15 minutes before the lineups usually get released. I'm going to be going through what I think is the most optimal lineup for us today and kind of talk about the game a little bit. This is a very big one, despite the relatively kind of demure fixture it is against Everton. They're not really the most inspiring opposition. Despite that, we have a very good opportunity today to go top of the league, and despite us not being in a title race and not expecting to be top of the league ever, and despite Liverpool obviously playing later today, they do have quite a tough opposition in Spurs. I think that's fair to say. So they could trip them up. I don't think they will personally. But at least for the meantime, we could go above them. Obviously, they still have a game in hand on us, as do Everton. They are another one of the teams that only have played 15 games. So for that, we can what's the word? We can kind of look forward to that and hope that we can take our chance, take our opportunity to go top today, even if it's more symbolic than actual fact, than the actual position rather. Sorry, I'm all over my words. As you can probably tell from my voice, I'm very, very ill. It's very, very cold today. It's windy. It's a horrible day, and it's also speaking of the occasion, it's actually quite an interesting one because I believe this will probably be, aside from if we ever meet them in the cup or for pre-season or something, this will be the final time that Chelsea ever play at Goodison Park because they're moving to their new stadium next season. I haven't seen the lineup, so I'm assuming it's come out if people are talking about it. So that's fun. So I'm going to go straight into my predicted lineup because I'm assuming that it's going to be slightly different to what I predict, considering what people have said. As I said, I'm not looking at it. I'll look at it in a second. I'll quickly go through what I think my lineup was going to be. Sanchez in goal is obvious. There's an issue we have because we have injuries to the back line, and because those kind of move into injuries into the midfield. So I would have personally what I would have done, and again we're going to talk about this in a little bit. I also need to pop out my chat because you guys are in the wrong place. Let me do that real quick. There we go. So personally, what I would have done is I would have put Caicedo at right back, because he can come into the midfield. I'd have played Tosin and Colwell as the centre backs, which I'm assuming, considering someone has mentioned Disasi, I assumed this didn't happen, and I would have put Gusto at left back. Moving on to the midfield, as I said, I'll quickly do this. I would have put Enzo at the base, and then I would have put Felix and Palmer as the two advanced players. I don't know why the lineups come up early, which is fun. I would have put Neto on this right side because he was rested for the midweek game. Sancho on the left side. Obviously, Nicholas Jackson up top. I'm assuming, because of how you guys are talking, that there's been some interesting things. So I'm assuming probably Tosin doesn't play and Disasi plays. I'm assuming that maybe there's some weird addition in the middle. But yeah, let's quickly, as you guys have said, it's out. Let's find the actual lineup. See how close I am. I need to actually switch to my that screen before I do this. Excuse me. So I'm very, very ill. I do apologize. All right. So, that is very interesting, actually. That is rather interesting. We gotta go back to here. I've got to zoom in again because for some reason, whenever you post or paste a image into into Microsoft Whiteboard, it just says, "Hey, you know what? Screw you." Let's put you down here. So we have Sanchez, Gusto at right back, which is fun. Tosin Disasi. Okay, so we'll move Cole out here. Not sure why. Oh wait, well Cole was starting at the left back, isn't he? Yeah, okay. Gusto on the right side. We're just going to adjust this as it kind of comes out. So we've got Tosin, Cole on the left, Disassi. Okay, so what this makes me think, this is really weird, but it makes sense. This does make sense. I think this is quite easy to work out. Who have we got in the centre? Caicedo, Enzo, and Palmer. That makes sense. And then Neto. Yeah, so pretty much everything else is the same. Madueke's on the bench. Vega's on the bench. Josh is on the bench, which is nice. Tyreek is on the bench, which is nice. Mark Guiu getting on the bench is very interesting. Like to see him possibly get an appearance after his hat trick. That would be great. Felix is on the bench and Kunku's on the bench and Cassidy. Okay, so pretty standard, honestly. This is pretty easy to work out for me. We see Caicedo is in the middle. Felix is out. Cool. This is pretty easy to work out, if I'm being perfectly honest. It's the same thing we usually see. It's just Gusto's inverting rather than Cucurella. We're going to see this, this, as we kind of always see, which is really weird. I saw someone tweet this out the other day. Obviously, we're going to shift around this way. I don't like... This is the one thing about this lineup I do not like, is I don't like Colwill being out on this left side. Yeah, I mean, it could be that. The thing is, though, the reason why I've put it this way and the reason why I don't think it is those two suggestions is because of the way the lineup is written. It always goes right to left. So Gusto's on the right side, then it's Tosin, then it's Disassi, then it's Colwill, because it goes from right to left. So Gusto's playing a right back. Obviously, the people that make the graphics don't know, so maybe that is different, but for the most part, they are pretty accurate. Obviously, again, you see Neto on the right side, so he starts first in the list of attackers, then Sancho is left. So that's interesting, but yeah, I think this is kind of how we'll set up, and this is annoying because I would like to see Colwill in the centre. Disassi has got a very, very good track record of being the central centre-back. I think he's very, very poor when he's out wide, and if I was Enzo Maresca, I would... that's done that again, hasn't it? There we go. I've seen you. I've caught my camera doing it this time. I don't know why it does this. It's the most infuriating thing. I'm gonna have to get a new one. There we go. But yeah, so the reason why I think Enzo has done this is because, again, we know Disassi is not the quickest. Playing him on the right side is just suicidal against a team that is going to very obviously sit back and counter-attack against us. I don't think that's a very good idea to play him there. His passing through the lines is actually better than a lot of people give him credit for, and I know that a lot of people did not see my latest tactical breakdown on the Shamrock Rovers game because YouTube just did not push it out to people for some reason. So that's fun, probably because it was quite late, but there we are. I spoke about Disassi's kind of direct passing in the second half specifically, and how that kind of helped us, him like feeding the ball into these central areas with Palmer or Palmer's here now, but it was Felix in the second half. I think that's like what we kind of do here. We're forced into these changes, obviously, because we have no Cucurella because he's suspended. Very silly suspension. I'm still angry about that. We're forced into not playing our strongest centre-backs because Badiashile is out. Wes is out, of course. And then Lavia is out as well. If Lavia was in, I think this would have been so much easier because obviously Caicedo would just go out to the right-back spot. We'd put Gusto at left-back and it would be fine. And he could kind of play... Or we'd put him at like centre-back and he could play as the right centre-back of the three. And that would have been fine, but... Apart from that, this is probably what we'll see. Again, I'm really not sure why. I'm really not sure why. Someone mentioned this on Twitter. I'm not sure why Gusto is just really poor at this position instead, and like despite it being the exact same position that Cucurella plays, just on the other side, he's just really bad at it. Not really sure why, but hopefully he has a good game today. Again, I'm not really sure why people hate Disassi. I don't think he's bad at all, especially in the centre. I think he's way better in the centre than he is out here. Like I would not prefer to have him on the wing where he has to face up against like wingers. Playing him up against strikers is fine because most of the time the actual attacks for Everton, I would imagine, will go down the wings. They're not going to go central. Yeah, it's going to be. I think this is. Let's be real. Everton have not been good this season. They are going to be a team that does sit back against us, does play probably a 4-5-1, and Excuse me. They're probably going to play a 4-5-1. They're probably going to try and hit on the counter attack. They're probably not going to have very much success. And I would I would imagine that we win this game pretty comfortably. It's just going to be one of those things where we have to kind of get through the slow part of the game. We know this is right. We know this, right? There's going to be a slow, like this game is going to be one of those things where we have to slowly work out Everton and eventually get goals. This will be a game again. Maybe I'm jinxing this, and I hope I do jinx this. I jinx a lot of the things which I say. Half the time when I say something, it doesn't happen. I assume this is going to be another one of these games where Palmer gets absolutely zero of the ball in the first half. He is just going to get completely man-marked out of the game and just is not going to get touches of the ball. Again, hopefully I'm wrong and that doesn't happen. Gusto, I said, yeah, as you guys have kind of pointed out, Gusto has been getting better here. I will say he's been getting better. Especially, it's weird, he plays a lot better in this role when we're playing with Cucurella as well, when they're kind of doing that thing where they kind of both do it at the same time, depending on which side of the pitch it's on. When it's a game, or when it's a situation like this, where he is going to always be here because we've got Colwell and we don't have another fullback that can invert, that's a little bit more scary, but it's way better having him here on the right side than it is him on the left side, like we've seen it happen before. I think having him here is way better because of the link up he can do with Neto. Obviously, we need a right footer on one side, a left footer on the other side. Very nice to have that. Kind of one can go one way, one can go the other. Especially when we are playing Neto and we don't have Madueke who can go around the outside. I think Neto is one of those players that's always more left-footed than he is right-footed. He's never going to blast past you to the right side very often. He's not going to do that. He does that a lot on the left, but not as much on the right. Hopefully we can see him get some success. I think his crossing is going to be a really big thing here. Him and Sancho, because we're not going to be able to make inroads because they're going to be so low, because they're going to play such a big block and they're going to have as I said, probably a 4-5-1, and it's going to be really hard to break through the centre. I think them having to play crosses into the box, like we kind of seen like Madueke kind of unlock teams with in the last few games. That's kind of what we're going to need to be doing today. For a score prediction, let's do a score prediction. I think it's really hard for me to predict us not conceding because of how leaky our defense has been in terms of giving up random goals when we're ahead. Just a bit of complacency that our team kind of has. So I'm very hesitant to predict like a normal scoreline, but there's something in me that is telling me that this is going to be either an absolute thrashing, we're going to absolutely pepper these guys, or it's going to be horrifically slow and sluggish, and it's going to be one goal in it by one of the teams. I'm going to be quite reserved here. I'm going to say we'll win this 2-0. I don't think we'll concede. I think it'll be one of those games where we have so much of the ball. And I think Caicedo is going to be one of those games where Caicedo is just electric and he just completely nullifies any attack that they have. It's going to be another one of those. Yeah, again, people have been saying this. I saw Crimson, you've just said that. Tosin being the centre and DCC the right centre back. Maybe that's the case, but the lineup suggests otherwise. That's all I'm going to say. Because this is from right to left. So I would imagine that Tosin is the right centre back here. And again, I would prefer this personally, because I don't like seeing DCC on the right side up against wingers. I think it's an absolute nightmare to see him trying to defend 1v1 against fast players. When he's faced up against a striker, it's much easier for him to kind of deal with. I would rather have Tosin on the right side because he's quicker. Like, it's just I said they can go either way. To be honest, for me it really doesn't matter. The only thing about this backline that I really am annoyed about is because we've had to force Colwell out to the left side, and this is just so poor for him to be playing here. I'd rather be the central one. Maybe we see him central, we never know. I said you can't really rely on lineups because the people that make the lineups, graphics and stuff, the admins, aren't the people that are actually making the team. So we might see that. Is it possible that Gusto plays left back? Possibly, but again, he's on the right side here in the starting 11, which is the only reason why I've put him there. And to be honest, I think this is the team that gives us, in my personal opinion anyway, this is the setup and the team that gives us the most balance, because we have right-sided player on the right side, we have a left-footed player on the left side. Obviously, Fernandez is not going to be there, but he's one of those players where This is the thing which is gonna kind of happen in the game. I would theorize, and it's part of the reason why I think that Palmer's not gonna have as good a game as he possibly could. Is because the team, these four in this diamond is going to rotate, and we're gonna see Palmer in the left 10, we're gonna see Gusto in the right 10, and then Enzo and Caicedo playing as these two holders, because that's kind of what we've seen every time that Gusto is playing instead of Cucurella in this role. We always see Palmer getting shoved out to this left hand side, and I hate it, and it's really annoying, but that's probably what's gonna happen. Maybe with substitutions we see that change later on in the game, but I think that's what we're going to kind of see. But yeah, my score prediction, as I said, I'm going to go for 2-0. I think that for goal scorers, who do I think scores? This would be so apt after all this talk about Disasi if he would pop up with a goal. So I reckon he's going to probably score from a header. Who else gets a goal here? Probably, I see, again, it's one of those games where Jackson's not going to have a lot of space, so I don't think he'd do very well here. Probably, is there anyone on the bench that would probably score off the bench? Madueke, maybe. I don't think he would play, though, because he played the 50 minutes. I'm going to say, yeah, goal scorers, I'm going to say Disasi, and I'm going to say Sancho. I think Sancho will probably probably get in, because yeah, he's up against Ashley Young, isn't he? So he'll probably have a field day there, hopefully. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out as ever. I'll be streaming after the game again as ever. We're Feeling Blue to kind of review this, and then I'll be doing I don't know if I'll be doing a tactical breakdown for this game. Just because obviously it's the holidays coming around. I'm very, very busy for the holidays. So I'm not sure if that would happen. If I've got the time, I'll do it. But as I said, I'm not too sure about that. Thank you guys for hanging out as ever. Enjoy the game. We've got about an hour until that that goes out. Reminder as well, for those of you in chat, Discord link is in the description. So if you want to join that, you can. There's been a lot of, there's been a few people coming in soon recently, which is quite nice. So hope I can see some of you over there. As I said, I'll be live tweeting the game on my Twitter as ever. So if you want to come talk to me there. As I said, thank you guys. Enjoy the game. And yeah, I'll see you guys after the game. Peace.